Welcome back to B&B Studios, where Berner and Bathy will talk all things happening in the Central Coast rugby competition. Good chat, good footy, good fun. Take it away, boys.
Well, thanks, Tomo, and welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the B&B Unplugged Central Coast Rugby podcast. Apologies, the episode's coming to you a little bit late. Some technical difficulties up here at Wangara. Optus obviously dropped this as it's affectionately known in the local area. But Bathy, where are you?
Mate, I'm in the far central west of New South Wales. I'm here for Dakin air conditioning, and I'm just doing which there it is in my camera. Just going around to random motel rooms, checking the yellow colouring and the degeneration of their plastics, doing a study on that. And so that's what brought me out here, and it's been a good trip.
How's the only rugby clubs out there, mate? You want to give a mention to anything you've seen?
Yeah, look, actually, in the fair income department, what a sad state of affairs. I'm out here at Cobar at the moment, home of the famous Cobar Camels. They are a rugby club and legit, not taking the piss. I came out this way probably 25, 30 years ago, and went out and visited the club and had a bit of a look. They just had I think it was their 65-year reunion. I was just reading up on them, and unfortunately they've had to they can't see the season out due to numbers, which is devastating for the town. But a little bit different to the Central Coast, where you've only got to travel 5 minutes. Cobar travel 5 hours each way for a game. So
that is shocking.
Yeah,
that's a massive day.
Yeah, the mighty Cobar Camels, they'll be back though. They'll be back next year. But they had their last game with.
Sorry, mate, you go.
Their last game, which was the reunion at the end of July. I'm pretty sure they had a victory over the Bogan Bulls, which is the local team from Nyngan, which is about 2-3 hours east. So it was. But anyway, they'll be back. Cobar Camels will be back. So, yeah.
Hopefully next year. That is a crazy amount. Can you imagine the bus trips on the way back? Like, even the one that we go to Cowra on is rancid. But 5 hours, that's not 5 hours. That 5 will turn into 10. You get back Monday morning. Shocking.
Tell you what, mate, we might have to do a rugby road trip one day. Come out this way.
I think we will do. Seems a bit far for me, mate. All right, let's get into it.
What about your week? Are you going to tell us about your week?
My week was good. I was trying to skip over it. My week was good. Got down to watch Woy Woy Terrigal. Watch the key word there.
Hang on. Watch.
Yeah, look, hamstring's still a little bit sore. Obviously, calling the Terrigal forward pack a bunch of cats beforehand. There's some serious head noise on the way home from that podcast last week. And Sam Kenny, as I said, the king cat of them all, decided not to play. So I thought, what's the point? In other news, though, congratulations to Sam and Ash on welcoming their baby boy into the world, Alfie, on Friday night, I believe. So with good reason, Sam wasn't playing. So congratulations to those two. Awesome event. And that was basically it, mate. Couldn't tell you what else I did. Yeah. Nothing exciting. It's rugby related anyway. Right, let's get into the episode. All right, let's get into the results of the round. Thanks to Gus and the team at Erina Podiatry. Let's start with the women's. First of all, disappointing. Terrigal win 28-0. Woy. Few too many injuries, but regardless, that forfeit is disappointing. You don't know that for a couple of reasons.
I want to just very quickly touch on that, and I know there are bigger things at play and circumstances, and it's not just as simple as this. But I think Terrigal have had 3 or 4 sides or 3 or 4 games forfeited on them this year, and I mean that's not good enough for a rugby competition. I mean, come on. I think we've got to start being a little bit harder now. And, it's just not good enough. Yeah, we're seeing it too often. It's
4 games almost had this year. 4 games.
And you know what? You can pretty much. I tell you what, it'll be a victory for the ages if any of those Terrigal women can win the Kate Thompson medal or win the highest try scorer or any personal accolade, having played 4 games less than probably the person who wins. You take out the individual achievements aside, that's just not good enough, and that's not a good enough rugby competition where teams can miss up to 4 games a season because of other teams forfeiting. But anyway, it's a sad reflection of where the game is at the moment.
Yep. Lakes take on Warnervale. The Lakes get the win, 61 points to 7.
Yeah.
It was a very spiteful clash last time. Warnervale with the win, but an absolute drubbing up at Slade Park by your Lakes women, mate.
Yeah, redemption with a big capital L. The Lakes women were on fire. They really had a point to get out there and prove after going down narrowly in the first round. What a great victory. And I would have liked to have seen the match. It wouldn't have surprised me just seeing how those Lakes women play if they just ripped it in, took it hard, straight up through the centre. But, you saw a few of the other ladies who played that weren't available for the Terrigal game played. So that was great for them. And what a victory. That really does now cement the Lakes as a bit of a dark horse leading up into the semi-finals and dark horse for the premiership too. I might have just go and throw that out there.
Mate, I'll be honest, I'm not convinced. And the reason I'm not convinced is because 3 conversions from 11. Unless they're out wide.
Yeah.
Hey, Army scored a couple, so that might have been out wide, but 3 from 11, pointing out of the competition, got to be better than that. Last game, come down to conversions as well. The Razorbacks beat the Gnarlers, the team of the podcast. 24 points to 20, mate. You tip the Razorbacks. I want the Gnarlers. 4 tries apiece. 0 from 4 from the Gnarlers. 2 from 4 for the Razorbacks. Shani Mason, her super boot, gets the win. That is the difference. That's the 4 points difference, mate.
I think Shani Mason might have scored a couple of tries too. I don't have the details in front of me.
She got a duple. She got a duple of tries, duple of conversions.
Big day out for Shani. Big day out for the Razorbacks, and I'm really pleased with that victory. Just for, I think it's a good moral victory, and it's a good victory for the club. They've been working hard. They've been building hard. And we've always said about how good the Hornsby Gnarlers can be if they got themselves together. I know there's lots of issues, women being available, not being available, that sort of thing. We know what an outstanding rugby side they can be. But I'm really pleased with the Razorback women. I think it's a tough victory, but also a very well-earned victory. What they must do now, the Razorback women, is continue on. I think there's 3 games left of this season, and they have to keep playing competitive rugby, because if they drop a game or 2 and leading into that last match and Hornsby still play strong, Hornsby can still leapfrog them at the end. But it will be difficult. But the Razorbacks, the job's not done yet. Just makes it a little bit easier. So big congratulations to the Razorbacks. Outstanding effort. Very pleased with that result.
Well, it makes it a lot harder for Hornsby now to make it. They've really got to hope that probably the Razorbacks falter at the end, or they've got to pull off an upset over, I think it's Terrigal. So the points table, Terrigal in first place on 70, Avoca in second on 60, Lakes in third on 53. They are locked in. 4th and 5th, Razorbacks on 38, Hornsby on 37. So 1 point now separates those two for that battle for the last spot in the finals. Warnervale in 6 on 20, and then we 7th on 1 point. So just back to those two, Bathy. This weekend, the Razorbacks will play Terrigal, so that'll be a tough game for them. If they can win that, they are sold. They're home. Hornsby had the bye though, so they won't be accruing any points. Next week, Hornsby will play Terrigal. Razorbacks will play Avoca, so a tough game for both of them. Hornsby have to win that game, because the following week, Razorbacks have got Warnervale. I think they get up in that one. And Hornsby are going to have Woy, so you'd think they get up in that one as well. So it's really going to come down to a big game. Hornsby v. Haven.
The Razorbacks have to win. It's as simple as that. There's no maybes. What's the points differential? Do you have that in front of you?
Razorbacks have got heaps on them. So Razorbacks would be ahead by about 100. They've got 34. Hornsby have got minus 77. So about 110.
Yeah, okay. It's going to be interesting. It's not quite there yet, but still exciting times. Still time for the Gnarlers. It's going to be difficult.
Time is running out. I think it's the game next weekend against Terrigal. That's the big one. They need all their guns back for that game. If they can get a win in that game, they're a sniff. If not,
mate,
fortunately, that's all she wrote.
We've seen what they can do when they do have everyone show up, haven't we?
Well, we've seen what they can do, and we hang shit on them as well, Bathy, and they can play very well. So I'm hoping this is it. I'm hoping this is the moment. All right, on to the men's. First game, Razorbacks beats Hornsby 47 points to 3. Probably what we expected.
Yeah. I'll tell you a good thing. I meant to mention it last week, but it was great to see Sean Peruk back playing. I had a quick chat with him at the Terrigal Razorbacks game quite a few weeks ago. He had a pretty nasty concussion, nasty head knock earlier on the season, and he'd had a couple. And I was just chatting with him, and he was just playing around with that idea of whether or not he was going to come back at all this year, just have a substantial chunk of time to get himself right. But he said he was going to make a decision a little bit closer to that time. So hopefully he's got all the clearance. Well, he will have had all the clearances, and he's all back playing. But an outstanding young rugby player, and scoring a couple of tries too, I believe.
Yeah, he got 2 tries. Great person as well. Lockie got 1 as well. Rob Peden gets a duple as always. Name withheld, 6 from 7.
Yeah, well,
all right. Next game. Terrigal get the win, 86 points to 5. So it was down at this game. It's a bit of a weird one. It was where we had a couple of juniors that had come back. There was the 3 Stride boys, Max, Jazz, and Zach, that were back, and basically it was half a kill care were there to watch. It was a nice family moment, if you will, everybody back, and the Fotsa Philly boys as well. There was 3 of them playing, and that was just that nice family sort of occasion. But you're up against Terrigal, and they just had way too much class in the end. I actually thought in terms of energy, and Tim Lark has actually written into us as well with a nice message which I'll share later on. In terms of energy, they had that youthfulness about them. We were like with Casey Woodford, I suppose, just getting off the line, chopping everybody down. But that score line just reflects that it's just a different class. Terrigal, they were just too big, too strong. And then, we were frustrating. They were really plucky with what they were doing. But again, it just becomes hands. He gets out to Blake Irwin, and you're just not going to stop him. Or you just get, I'll give Todd Atkins credit here. When he came on, he actually made a little bit of a difference this time. And he would, scored an early try when he came on, and just Harry Gray as well, just punching it forward. Like their pack's good. They had a couple out, obviously Sam Kenny out. They had Danks out. They had Matt Collins out as well. I think Terrigal might be a little bit frustrated with how they play, but they'll be overall pretty happy with the result.
Some pretty key positions to be throwing. Some new players in. I know Paul Ryan, who I used to play rugby with, his young fella made his starting debut at halfback for the Terrigal Trojans in first Premier 1. So congratulations to young Riney. Good day for him. So I think it was a bit of a mixed match. Terrigal side for that game.
It's hard to play.
Still managed to score 85 points.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's you got points there, and in the game, just watching it, again, just the enthusiasm from Woy driving the ball forward, and then it's just a turnover and length of the field, and that's it. It's gone. But I tell you what, mate, a player that we're going to mention a lot in the future is affectionately known as Big Red, Zach Byrne, second rower. He is really good.
Ooh.
I think he's made the country team.
Any relative?
No relative.
Related?
I mean, there's a lot of similarities in the last name. He's got a Y, I've got a U. He doesn't have an S. He's got an E, that sort of stuff. Physical characteristics. He's probably built a little bit more solid than me. There's a bit of muscle density on him. Hair color, obviously very similar. But mate, he plays really well. I think in a couple of years, I think he's someone that we're going to be talking about for the next 10 years. I think he's a really good player, really solid. The way that he carries the ball, he's really, really strong carry as well.
So what Tim Lark have to say?
Tim Lark. I'll get to Tim. Tim.
President of the Terrigal Rugby Club.
He said, big ups for the Woy Club last week. A young, enthusiastic group of players that just don't stop trying. No matter how hard we hit them, they just dusted themselves off, got up and went again. Love their spirit. They're very different sides to the one we played in the first round and great to play against. Hopefully they stick together as they'll be a force in years to come. There's one downside, though. The long-awaited matchup between Berner and Sam Kenny never eventuated. Berner pulled a Hartledge and Sam became a dad. Sam pulled out first, I will say. But thank you very much, Tim, for writing that in. Greatly appreciated, mate. Nice words. That's that game. And on to the next one, the Battle of the North. A little bit closer than what I thought. I think it pushed out a little bit at the end, but yeah.
I was watching this. Hutchison Walters getting over the line early, 7-0 lead, the Lakes. Bit of an ambush early, but obviously the Wildcat side just sort of ground them down and ended up running away with it.
I tell you what,
score, Burner.
The final score was Warnervale 29, Lakes 12. It'd be nice if Ashton was playing. Braden and Lathan Hutchinson Walters are playing, but no Ashton this time on the team sheet. So Rayhana gets a gig, as you would be at your, as you would be playing at your home ground in the Battle of the North, defending the North. But yeah, Warnervale just too good, which we thought is what would probably happen. Ben Austin, 2 from 5. Got to be better than that, big Benny boy. Got to be better than that come finals, mate. But yeah, Warnervale. How we're doing the Battle of the North now, in terms of are we going how we did the line off Shield? Are we looking at men's and women's, and then we're going that's the aggregate scoreline, or how are we doing this?
Well, line off Shield doesn't exist anymore, mate. So
no, it doesn't. I was just showing a reference there. I thought we could maybe reinvite it. Yeah,
still a bit early, mate. To be honest, to be making. Still carrying the scars from that. I think we should go on aggregate.
Okay. Well, on that, the Lakes are still kings of the North.
Oh, there we go.
So Scotty Moroney.
Yeah, the women.
The women have got Scotty home. Yeah, the women have lifted Scotty back onto his throne. So Scotty is still the king of the North. Last game, mate. Gosford play Avoca. Avoca with the win, 26 points to 17. I just can't see, and I don't know why. I can't see Gosford beating the top teams. They always seem to lose by just that smallest margin. You know, was it 9 points this time? But
there was quite a few discipline issues there. Sin bins
penalty
again, and lots of penalties and a tight match. That sometimes happens when you got sort of two sort of competitive sides. I'm not sure if Avoca has been playing at their absolute best. That's by no means throwing any shade at either them or Gosford, but it looked like a pretty penalty heavy contest, and discipline doesn't appear to be high on the agenda for that match.
Yeah, so it was 4 penalties each. Ben Shelley kicking 4, Henderson Foley kicking 4 for Avoca. Henderson Theon kicks 2 from 2 as well. That's how you know Theon's back. The kicking bits are back.
How many 100%. Slices of cheese were handed
out? There was 3. There was 2 from Avoca, 2 to Avoca, 1 to, let's name and shame here. Mitch Parker got 1 from Gosford, and Alex Hall's got 1, and number 18, it says name withheld. So I can't find it. I was going to dig a little bit deeper, but I won't be able to find that. But feel free to dob him in, whoever it is. It's a winger. He played on the wing. That's all I know.
Oh, yeah.
A winger getting a yellow card, Bathy. Yeah. Unbelievable. All right, that's the wrap up of the scores for the week. Getting onto the table with 3 rounds left. Terrigal sitting on top spot on 58. Avoca in second on 58. So both on the same amount of points. Nearly a 200 difference, 200 points in the difference there. Razorbacks sit third on 57. Yep.
So
Terrigal are plus 656. Avoca are plus 473. So
now I've been in a similar situation from a coaching perspective. How can Avoca, for example, be in second place when they haven't lost a game, and Terrigal have? I know it goes on for and against. Do you know what I mean? It's a strange dynamic, isn't it?
It is, but that's your bonus points as well, mate.
Yeah,
that rewards
right.
the team. I mean, it was really one game from Terrigal where they just didn't play at their best against a top team. That was it.
Yeah. It's an interesting dynamic, and
but the other one is Razorbacks. So Razorbacks are in third place. They're 1 point behind both of them. So Razorbacks are on 57. They've played an extra game, but they've lost 2. So only 1 point off the lead, and they've lost 2 games. So they're for and against is 456. So that could play a bit of a part. That's very close to Avoca. Avoca 473, Razorbacks 456. Fourth place, we have Warnervale on 42. Fifth place, Gosford on 39. And that's our finals. Hornsby in 6th on 18. The Lakes in 7th on 13. We 8th on 7. And Lake Macquarie last place on 5 points. So that's still top 3 fighting it out, mate. But 4 and 5 locked up now for Gosford and Warnervale.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on to, what are we? Round 16.
Oh, yeah, getting close.
All right, we'll start with the men's. So we've got 3 rounds left, 16, 17, 18, and then we are hitting finals. All right, so bye this week. The Razorbacks have the bye for the men. First game, Bathy, Hornsby host Lake Macquarie at Mark Taylor Oval.
Well, don't set your alarm clocks. I can't see this game getting overly exciting.
Mate, what do you mean? Lake Macquarie are coming off a 30-point win, 31-point win. You're writing them off.
Well, we've got a team that's won 1 match versus a team that's played 3. That's won 3 games. So let's call it how it is, Berto. I've stated all along. I think this Hornsby side has been a very plucky rugby side. They've been very competitive, and they've certainly given their all from what I've seen anyway throughout the year. And we've seen the Lake Macquarie have had their first win, as we said, a week or so ago, and they're going to be brimming full of confidence. I can't see them travelling down to beat Hornsby. This is the biggest road trip in the competition, and I see Hornsby. I think they'll have a victory here, and I think it'll be a fairly convincing victory, but won't be any of the blowout scores that we've seen with Lake Macquarie. It'll be interesting to see what their first victory has done for them, buoyed them a little bit. They're every chance, Lake Macquarie, if they play well enough, bringing the best players that they can. I think they're every chance, but I'll be tipping Hornsby here in a game that I won't be going down to watch.
I'm just trying to find out Google Maps, mate, see if I can find out just how long that road trip is. An hour and 21, 121 Ks. So it's officially the longest trip that you have to go. That's nice for the Cobar Camels, mate. Hour and 20. That'd be a dream for them.
That's exactly right.
Next game, mate. Lakes host Wee Wee.
Yeah.
It's going to be similar, isn't it?
I just hope we'll take up 2 sides. And what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I won't be setting my alarm and heading up to this match either. Lakes should win this. They should win it well.
I think they'll be struggling with the 2, to be honest.
I was going to say, my only hope is that we'll take 2 sides. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Well, they've got 2 games left. They got this at Blythe, and they got Hornsby last round at home.
Yeah, very difficult to be motivated and try and talk up these matches. But hopefully it's a good opportunity for Warwick, learning opportunities. But also too, I think the Lakes need to get a little bit more respect into their season. They've been good without winning. They were horrendous against Terrigal 2 weeks ago, and they're really struggling for numbers. Hopefully at home, Lakes will be able to have 2 sides, and hopefully Warwick can go up there and match them with 2 sides as well. Fingers crossed, but Lakes for mind will win this.
Yeah, I'm with you. They got a nice end of the season as well, Lakes. They got Woolworth this week. They're up at Walters Park against Lake Macquarie next week, and then that's the end of their season. So at least two games against the bottom 2 in the table to end it. Now on to the next 2 games, mate. So this is where we start playing finals. This is where the top teams are playing each other. Avoca host Warnervale.
Well, Avoca seem to have Warnervale's measure, to be honest. Well, so far this year, the first time they met was a good victory to the Avoca Beach side, and the fact that they're hosting them, I think, bodes even better for the Sharks. I think the Sharks need to play. The Sharks have to find their best rugby, and they haven't been playing that at the moment. And I think they'll get exposed by the Wildcats. I think there's an opportunity for Warnervale to come down and sneak out with a victory here if they play well. play tight and through up and structured up through the middle. I think there's an opportunity to attack Avoca in a variety of different channels. Whether or not the Wildcats have that ability to do so will be interesting. But I think it's a good opportunity for Warnervale. I think Avoca are a little bit, they're looking to obviously build and get some momentum up towards the semi-finals. That's going to need to start this week. And if they come in underdone against the Wildcats, then I think the Wildcats will knock them off.
Is Mitch Briggs injured? Is Mitch Briggs injured? Do you know? Oh no, he played last.
Yeah, Mitch Briggs.
No, he played. Maybe he was out on the weekend. No, I just saw his name wasn't on the team sheet before. I think Avoca are going to start to hit their straps right now. I think they've.
Well, they need to. There's no doubt about that.
Hey, in the last sort of month, but I think they really. I think at home, I think this is when they start to really sort of hit finals because their run home is Warnervale, Razorbacks, Terrigal. So Avoca play the top. Now they're what are they in second? They play the other top four in the last rounds. So I think it's Avoca for me, mate. I think at home, I think it might be, and again, I think it's going to be a close one.
Yeah,
I really think Fionn being back and goal kicking is a massive. Is it really going to help them massively? Because the game's pretty tight, and goal kicking has really let them down in recent weeks. And the weekend's game was, I don't know if they would have probably won that in previous weeks. Their goal kicking hasn't been good enough.
If Avoca at full strength, I'll be picking the Sharks.
Yeah.
And I think they need to be at full strength. They've been an impressive side throughout the year, the Avoca Sharks. They haven't lost a game all year, so can't hang too much shit on them. But I think for a side that has been so good, they've certainly gone in. They're having a little bit of a form slump, but they've still been getting the victories, which is important. The problem is for the Avoca Sharks, the concerning thing for the Avoca Sharks is those victories have been against the bottom sides of the competition. So he's hoping they're all sorted out and ready to go because the Wildcats are going to be a tough day for them. But I'll be backing them to win in a tight one. Sharks.
It'd be exciting if Warnervale do win that, and it really puts the pressure on the Sharks leading in those last two rounds as well. And Warnervale are due a win against one of the top three. They just can't get there. Yeah. And speaking about the other team that just can't get there with the winner of the top three, Gosford host Terrigal. How do you see this one going, mate?
I think if Terrigal Terrigal need to be at full strength. I think
Dankit was out with the flu last week.
I was going to say I don't think there's that much difference in the sides in regards to who was available and who was out last week for the Terrigal Trojan side. The fact that Gosford are hosting them, I think bodes better for the Red Devils. I was at that game. I was at this game in the first part of the first half of the season, and Terrigal just blew the Red Devils off the park in the first half, first 40 minutes. Admittedly, it was with someone in the sin bin, but Gosford proved themselves to be a competitive outfit. They were very plucky in attack and defence, and they certainly didn't go away. I think they've grown. They're a better rugby side, and they're playing better rugby than they were back then. And I think they're a more competitive outfit. So I think this will be a really entertaining match. I think Terrigal will still have too much across the park from 1 through to 15. And I think also big difference in the two clubs and the two sides, I think, will be the strength of the bench that come in for Terrigal. So I see Terrigal being too strong for the Red Devils. I don't think it will be an easy victory, but I see Terrigal winning.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, mate. I think I just can't. I say it every week. I just can't say it's just going to be a close game, and I just can't. Gosford getting the win, just closing out the game against the top three. I just haven't seen it, and I can't feel any other way about it. So I think a Terrigal win there. But again, the same thing. It'd be awesome to see Gosford start this time of the season because nothing happens. Nothing matters with what's happened previously in the season. It's all about now, and this is moving into finals. So this could really shake things up if Gosford can get the win over Terrigal moving forward in these last few rounds. It's a shame we had some issues
from the Wangara end with our satellite lining up because I'd done some communications. I'm chatting with one of the greats of the Central Coast and one of the absolute champions and legends of the Red Devils Rugby Club in Andrew Mosley, not Adam Mosley, Andrew Mosley. I'd sent Mose a message and he expressed how excited he was to come onto the podcast and how he'd love to do it. Unfortunately, it can't be this week in the lead up to the Terrigal Trojans match, so we might try and get Mose on next week when I can sneak into the studio and get his excellent analysis and thoughts on how the match went. I know he's been doing a lot of good things around the Gosford Rugby Club. Mose has.
Well, it'll be a cracking game next week because Gosford have Warnervale next week. That's 4th versus 5th. So that'll be a cracking match next week. So it's all starting to fire up. Right, so games this week for the men's. Hornsby host Lake Macquarie, Lakes host Wee Wee, Avoca host Warnervale, and Gosford host Terrigal. Let's go over to the women's matches. So Hornsby had the bye this weekend. First game, Lakes host Wee Wee.
Lakes by plenty.
Lakes by plenty.
Hopefully we can make the trip up there.
I think 2 games. They've got 2 games to go. You got to make the trip up there. You've just got to. 2 games to go.
I'm not holding my breath for them, unfortunately.
Yeah. Next game, Avoca host Warnervale.
Avoca will win this, and I think Avoca, again, a little bit like the men's, they're going to look to start kicking their season into gear again now and ramping up for the semi-finals. Haven't quite been playing their best. Their side's been a little bit disjointed. So an important match for the Avoca women, and they need to tightening up their game, start playing that fantastic brand of rugby that we know they can play. Important match for them this week. But Sharks will win.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think Sharks convincingly in that one. I reckon Avoca will start to hit their straps now for the women's. I'm tipping a big margin there. And the last game, Terrigal host the Razorbacks at Gosford Rugby Field, mate. Showground Oval. This is the match of the round by far. Razorbacks on a bit of a heater at the moment.
I think it's a good opportunity for the Razorbacks too. Go into this match without any preconceived ideas. Just go in and just chance your hand. Just have a bit of fun with it. You obviously want to be as competitive as you can. There's no doubt that Terrigal are the benchmark competition side at the moment. They're playing the best rugby. I sung their praises a couple of weeks ago, how they sort of developed a plan B. It will be interesting to see what the Razorbacks can throw at them. I watched them in that first game, the last time they met, and Terrigal kind of ran away with it. But I was really surprised with the competitive nature of the Razorbacks, and in key areas that they were a little bit underdone too. They were a bit under strength. So if the Razorbacks are if they're at full strength, I wouldn't write them off. I wouldn't say they're no chance at all. I think they're every chance of springing an upset. The big question for the Razorbacks will be, can they handle the scoreline blowing out a little bit? Can they be patient? Can they be calm a little bit? Because we know how amazing and strong the Terrigal Trojan women are and how quickly they can score tries. It's just going to be a case of whether or not the Razorbacks can sort of maintain a little bit of calmness in the match when it's starting to get out, starting to sort of run away from them, get themselves a little bit calm, get back into a little bit more of their flow and their structure and to that winning sort of style that they can play. I think it'll be a tough day, but I think it's a really exciting learning opportunity for the Razorbacks. But Terrigal will win this match for me. Yeah,
they're a bit of a different side, the Razorbacks, to when they played last time. I think I think they've got a bit more to the last time they played, but the last game they did play, Terrigal won 71 points to 5. I thought Razorbacks might be a little bit of a sniff, and I was tempted, but I think Terrigal are just going to have a little bit too much. I think the conditions would suit, like being at Gosford Rugby Field. It's not at the Haven. There's a real chance there, as you said, just to go there and just have a red hot crack and see how you come up. You don't know what side Terrigal's going to put out on the day. Obviously, their side's been a little bit changed over in the last month or so with different people in and out as happened. So, yeah, I think I'm still going to stick to Terrigal, mate. A safe bet on that one. All right, so that's the games for this weekend. Avoca host Warnervale, the Lakes host Wee Wee, and Terrigal host the Razorbacks. What else do you want to talk about, mate? We're doing to cut the episode or go back to our usual length of the episode, which is about 30 minutes and not this hour crap we've been dishing out the last few weeks.
Well, just want to give a quick shout out to Jess Brooks from the Terrigal Trojans side. She won a gold medal at the World Police Rugby Games. So big shout out to Jess. Well done. Congratulations. Winning the tournament over there in Canada. One of the nice humans on the Central Coast and a red hot rugby player as well. So big congratulations to Jess Brooks. Well done.
I want to give a shout out to Dale Winslow. So Dale just won the New South Wales Rugby Volunteer of the Year, which is a huge achievement for someone, for him to win that. He has done awesome stuff. I had a little bit to do with Dale sort of when I was in my early 20s. For some unknown reason, he kept picking me in sevens teams, and it was an amazing experience. Just the guy just going, no, this is, sees potential in people. And it's a bit of a mixed match bunch of guys that were sort of together. And he just got us our own jerseys, everything. And that was a bit foreign to me at the time. And that was just one example of so many. And he's done so much work with sevens teams all around Australia. I know he's been part in the sevens circuit with Samoa as well. He's done a ton of things. So for him to be recognised, it's very well deserved. So that's Dale Winslow, the 2023 Volunteer of the Year for New South Wales Rugby. So well deserved, mate.
Yeah.
Huge achievement.
Dale. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely huge. Anything else, mate?
No, mate. I think that'll do. Yeah, a bit of a boring episode this week, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. That's what happens when you're in Cobar, mate. There's not much for you to talk about out there. I thought you'd be motivated. I thought everyone would be able to hear some exciting things of what's happening out there.
I had plenty to talk about last night, but anyway, that's the way it goes.
That is. All right, that'll do us this week, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. And we've got 3 rounds to go, and then it is finals time.
And then it comes 3 rounds to go. Then it comes live commentary, live streaming. We'll be back. Don't worry about that.
All the exciting stuff will be happening.
If you haven't had enough of this dribble, you can listen to it whilst you're running around on the footy field. How good. Exciting times.
All right, mate. You got some air cons to service. All right, see ya.
Yeah, I do.